Okay, let's get underway. We will go with James Cole, Sky Sports News.
Hi, Joe. So losing Zach Crawley so close to the start of his first test, how big a setback is that for you, and who bats at 3 now?
Yeah, it's really frustrating, and really frustrating for Zach in particular. Real freak incident where he, walking out the change room, slipped over and landed on his wrist. So hard for him to take, especially off the back of trying to get as best prepared as possible for this series. And of course, it means that we have to look at things from a selection point of view. I think as a more general thing, I think everything's on the table in terms of selection. We'll weigh everything up when we get to the ground, look at the conditions, look at the surface again, and try and have real clarity going into the game. So would you consider moving up to 3? There's a number of different things we've got. We've got some brilliant players, brilliant options to choose from. We look at the balance of the side and things as well. But there'll all be things that we'll discuss over the course of today and make sure that we're really happy with the team that we take into the game tomorrow. And how are Jofra Archer and Ben Stokes looking? Are they fully fit from what you've seen for selection? Yeah, I mean, I had the pleasure of, pleasure, I mentioned this last night, the displeasure almost of facing Jofra in the nets yesterday. He bowled extreme with great pace, looked right at the top of his game. So really exciting to see him where he's at. And it's always great to have Ben back in around the group. That he's going to come back in and give absolutely everything to the team. So I think it would always give a huge lift having that amount of talent in and around the squad. So very excited for them both to be in and around things again, and looking forward to get going. And just finally from me, have you had a chance to look at that pitch then and see what the conditions might be like? Yeah, I had a brief look at it. Not been able to get too close to it. We've been sort of held at arm's length a little bit, but it's not the prettiest wicket that I've ever seen. But we all know that doesn't mean it doesn't tell you a huge amount. It's going to be history would suggest here that it is going to be a good wicket for the majority of the game. Spin will come into it, but there hasn't been a huge amount of cricket in the last 4 years or 5 years here, even first class cricket in the last year and a half or so. So I think it's really important that we go into the game with an open mind and we play what's right in front of us. So yeah, I think that's going to be a real key component of things. Is making sure that we adapt to what we see when that first ball comes down on Friday. Thank you. Go well.
Cheers, James. We'll go with Sam from TalkSport.
Hey, Joe. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you, Sam?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Joe. Your best achievement?
I think walking out for the first time in an England shirt probably be the proudest moment. I just think I look back on walking out to bat and seeing Kevin Peterson stood at the other end, someone who I watched as a teenager and as a kid growing up, and I just couldn't stop smiling. I was living my childhood dream, and ever since have been. And always trying, if I'm ever going through a bit of a lean spell or things aren't quite falling for me, then try and look back at that moment and remember what that feeling was like, and just almost try and embrace that really excitable young lad, and bring that into the current situation, because I'm still living the dream. So that would probably be the one thing that stands out, something that I'll always refer back to and look fondly on.
And Joe, this morning on the TalkSport breakfast, we've got Darren Goff and Steve Harmison on the show looking ahead to the series. And they've been talking about their exact preparation ahead of the start of a massive series, what they do the morning of the night before. Just interested in what you do. You finish training, done the press conference, you go home. Are you able at all to switch off? Do you watch something in particular on TV? Do you play the guitar? What's your exact preparation the night before and the morning of a massive series for England?
I just try and relax as much as I can. I think naturally you will always think about there might be selection questions in your own mind if you're not clear on the team going into that final day. But most of the time, it's just about having that all all done and getting real clarity and all of that, and then just being able to switch off and give yourself a chance to away from the game. And sometimes I'll play the guitar, sometimes I'll watch a series on an iPad or whatever, and sometimes I'll want to watch some cricket if there's games going on around the world. I'm a big cricket fan, a bit of a badger, so anything really just to keep me nice and relaxed and calm is all I'll try and do.
Thank you, Joe, and good luck.
Cheers, thank you.
Okay, we'll go to John Etheridge and then Chris Stocks.
Joe, hi. Just on Zach again, cricket studs on slippery floors can be quite hazardous. Have you put something down on the floor to make sure it doesn't happen again?
We have since then. We've tried to initially try to put some even just some towels down, and then since then they've put something a bit more substantial down for us. We know we've got to be careful. I mean, it's not something you first think about when you turn up to a ground. Is trying not to slip over. It was a real freak accident, and hopefully that'll be the last of it, and no one else can fall to the same fate.
2005 was the last time Channel 4 showed live cricket. What were you doing that summer? Still at school, obviously, but kind of mad, keen, aspiring cricketer, I guess.
Yeah, that was one of my childhood memories. Is in that final day of at the Oval, I happened to be ill, so I managed to sit at home and watch that whole that whole last day of the Ashes series, and obviously the coverage was all on Channel 4. So it was a big part of my childhood throughout the summer, turning the telly on, watching the guys go out and play, and then just going in the garden or on the driveway or on the street and trying to emulate all of those players. It was a big part of my childhood.
Great, thanks.
Okay, we'll go to Chris Stocks and then Will Macpherson.
Hi, Joe. I just wondered, given the injury to Zach, is Ben Stokes a live option to go up to 3? He's done it before, obviously, in Sri Lanka.
There's a number of ways that we can look at it, a number of different combinations we can go with. And I think that's a really exciting part of it, is that we've now got a number of good players that can bat in different positions, fill different roles. So I think it'd be silly to write anything right now.
And does Joss Butler definitely keep wicket?
Joss Butler will keep wicket, yes.
He will keep wicket. Okay, thanks.
Okay, we'll go to Will and then Rory.
Hi, Joe. It's sort of similar to John's question, but I just sort of thought, I wonder whether you could describe as a man of a certain age what Channel 4's cricket coverage or free-to-air TV had meant to you growing up, and how it kind of was involved in your love of a game, or the growth of your love of a game.
Yeah, well, I mean, that accessibility was, it meant that I could watch all the time and as often as possible whenever the games were on. As I say, it was a huge part of my childhood growing up, turning on the TV, listening to, Mambo No. 5. That was always a favourite song, purely because it was associated with cricket, Test cricket. So, those are really fond memories. I look back now and I associate that with growing up playing Test matches in the garden with my family, with my brother, and it was all through watching the coverage there.
Cheers.
Okay, last one from the UK media. Rory, please.
Joe, with reference to Zach's injury, obviously it's a blow to plans. But do you look at things like India in Australia just recently and sort of take a view that it opens up a door and a chance for somebody who probably wasn't going to play to do something special? Because that's obviously something India embraced when they had a few struggles with injuries in Australia.
Yeah, I think a lot of sides around the world will look at that series that's just happened in Australia and take huge amount of confidence from it. I think, huge credit to India for going there and winning. It's a very difficult place to go and win. We all know that. But it also, I think, teams will see that and will see that, it is possible to go and win away from home. And there is a lot of pressure on sides hosting. It'll be the same when we turn up in England and we host some brilliant sides coming over, there is a bit of pressure around that, and we should embrace that challenge. That should excite us. There's so many great opportunities that come with that, and as a side and as individual players, when you're given that opportunity to play, you just got to try and maximise that opportunity. Really try and make that count. And one thing that we have had more recent past is that competition for places, a bit more depth within our squad, and not heavily reliant on certain individuals, which might have been the case a few years ago. So it's really exciting time for the team, and guys have just got to really grasp those opportunities if they get them.
Cheers, Rory. We're going to take some questions from the Indian media. It'll be one question each, please. We've got a few to get through here. We're going to start with Vishesh, please, and then Niru.
Hi, Joe. I just wanted to ask you about Jack Leach and Dom Bess. There has been a lot of talk about these two, but do you think Moeen Ali can be the real X factor when it comes to spin, looking at his record against India?
I think it's great that all three of them are fit and available for selection. I think that as a whole bowling group, it's going to be really important that we all work together, not single out spinners and separate the seamers away from them. I think collectively, it's going to be really important that we all play our part, and that actually we look at things in partnerships. We look at how, as a bowling group, we're going to take 20 wickets in these conditions, and not put pressure on individuals to try and win games on their own. That's going to be the main mentality for us throughout this series, and individually the responsibility will come onto those guys if given the chance to play, and if the ball's thrown to them, do your job as best as you can for that spell. Pass the spell on to the next guy, keep building pressure all the time, creating as many chances as you can, and keep working together as a unit.
Okay, we'll go to Niru, please.
Yeah. Hi, Joe. My question was about, for somebody who's played many long innings, what do you make of somebody like a Chiteshwar Pujara, who is equally adept at playing long, but then he's not really, his role is also about not really being bothered about the scoring rate or, scoring at a quick pace. What do you make of somebody like that then? How frustrating is it for the opposition?
Yeah, I think he's a fantastic player. I had the pleasure of playing alongside him for only a couple of games at Yorkshire. And to learn from him, speak to him about batting, his love of the game, it was really interesting. So having played against him as well and been on the wrong end of him, making some huge scores, and being out there for long periods of time, you learn from those kind of innings, and you've seen his importance, the value that he adds